Well, you know, 'cause you know you won't be able to keep up with me when I do the candles because I have to do it very fast. Otherwise, I get lost.
Well, you have two choices. You can either just do it, or
I
you
just
can
do
let
it.
me do it.
I'll do
Either
it.
way. It's fine with me.
I like to do it.
Good, good.
Um, Sabbath. You don't say Yom Tov.
Shabbat, we're not considering it Yom Tov here.
Okay.
As a temple, we do 7 days Pesach. And sundown is the end of the seventh day. And some of our members do 8 days.
Well, we still have leftovers, so we're fine.
Right,
Okay.
somebody turned it on.
I didn't look at it.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay.
We have a minion.
We do. Fantastic. We've got a minion.
We have a minion.
You should take your seat and we'll pull you up when we're gonna light candles, because there's a couple things before then.
Okay. That's good. I like sitting.
So we don't have sowing tears in this, do we? Thought maybe it is. I put it out there and forgot. No, we don't. Are we having another Seder tonight? One page. Yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la, yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la, yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la, yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Yai Lai Lai yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la yalla la, yalla la la la, yalla la la la. Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed, Kiva Moed.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Kiva Moed, the festival has come. And since we have not started Shabbat yet officially, it is still Passover, and so the festival is still here. We can enjoy, if you have any matzah left that you want to eat in the next 10 minutes, now is a good time to do it. For some people, of course, they keep Passover another day, and so they will continue eating matzah tomorrow. But tonight is a Shabbat service, not so much a Passover service. We are saying goodbye to Passover this evening as a TCS community. Although we will, of course, have our Passover Yizkor service as part of our service this evening. It's wonderful to be together with everybody who is here in our sanctuary, with everyone who is joining us on YouTube. A reminder that the words for tonight's service are in the PDF that went out in the email. So if you are on YouTube and would like to have those words, you can find them on the PDF. We are ready to continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles on page 301. Ricky knows I'm about to call her to lead us, so thank you, Ricky.
Another week of work is ended. Again, Shabbat brings welcome peace. We pause from our labors to let Shabbat give another dimension to our lives. These Shabbat candles are symbols of the holiness we seek. Their brightness dispels gloom and lights a path to faith and hope. Their glow reminds us of the sacred bonds that link us to our people over space and time. Their radiance summons us to fulfill our people's mission, to cast the light of freedom, justice, and peace upon all the world. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivonu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Let's continue on page 305. Although this reading on page 305 that is labeled for Pesach may feel better for the first day, the beginning of Pesach, it is still meaningful and appropriate this evening as well. Page 305. Springtime, sundown. After all the hurried preparations, the long-awaited moment has come. From slavery to freedom, we will relive an ancient story, one that yet has relevance in our time. We pray for the faith to walk through stormy seas, the strength to hold your outstretched hand, the humility to grasp your mighty arm. May we always know the joy of being your people and of making you our God. Light our way, that our journey, like the exodus of our ancestors, will lead us to you. We continue on page 13 as we welcome the Shabbat angels of peace and joy. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharei, Malachei Elyon, Vihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mihi Melech, shalom malachei elyon melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu tzedchem l'shalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
We continue in the supplements on page 4 with the version of the opening psalm of Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalm 95, Lechu Neranena.
Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Nahariah, yai lai 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 lai, Letzur Yishenu, yai lai 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 lai. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, L'Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Nahariah, yai lai 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 lai, Letzur Yishenu, yai lai 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 lai. For all of the wonder in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, L'Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, Nahariah, yai lai 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 lai, Letzur Yishenu, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Now we are ready to welcome the Shabbat bride on page 21. Lecha Dodi, come my beloved, to greet the bride.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litira. Lecha Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likra Hakala, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela, Likrat Shabbat Lechu V'nelcha, Ki Hi Mekor HaBeracha, Merosh Mikedem Nesucha, Sof Maaseh B'machshavat Chila, Lecha Dodi Likra Hakala, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likra Hakala, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela. Hitorari, Kiva Ore, Kumi Ori, Uri, Shirda Beri, Kivod Adonai Alayich Nigla, Lecha Dodi Likra Hakala, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likra Hakala, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela. V'hovi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola, Tochemune am segula, B'wichala, Lecha Dodi Likra Hakala, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi Likra Hakala, B'nei Shabbat Nikabela.
Stay standing as we turn to page 27, Chatzikadosh.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah V'yamad divrach yirutei V'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyomechon U'v'chayei lechol Beit Yisrael Bagala Uvizman Kariv V'meru Amen Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Ve'alam Ulam Me'amaya Yitbarach Ve'yishtabach Ve'yitpa'ar Ve'yitromam Ve'yitnaseh Ve'yithadar Ve'yitaleh Ve'yithalal Shemei Dekudesha Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Tamiran be'alma V'yimeru Amen.
The supplements on page 5, Am I Awake? Leading into Baruch.
Yadidai-dai-dai, 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 yadidai-dai-dai. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Yadidai-dai-dai, yadidai-dai-dai,
in the Siddur on page 379. Page 379. An individual or a people can be liberated from slavery, but to be liberated is not yet to be free. It is only the first great step into freedom.
While others can give us liberty, only we can make ourselves free. For if we serve only ourselves, freedom itself soon falls into slavery.
The path of freedom is like a high, unprotected road requiring our endless vigilance.
On such a road, we must be prepared to choose between slavery and freedom at every turn, at every moment.
That is why it is hard to make the journey of freedom alone.
We must strengthen our choices by walking with the giants of all ages who are on the same journey with us.
In a home where freedom is being celebrated, a door must be opened so that all who are outside may be invited in.
Whenever someone joins us who seeks freedom, our own freedom is enlarged.
It is to make us remember the endless effort which freedom demands from those who would be free.
And to keep us from forgetting that slavery comes in many forms, enveloping the spirit as well as the body.
As in every generation, we too must invite all those we can to share the journey with us.
To help each other, to serve and free each other, to open our door so that all might be free.
Our path to freedom is guided. We are guided on that path by the Torah, by the commandments, by Jewish life. So on page 29, we continue with Ahavat Olam, thanking God for this gift of Torah.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Havta, Amcha Havta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shomenu uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu Yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olami. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
Page 31 and the sixth line from the top.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On the seventh day, after starting their exodus from Egypt, the Israelites stopped at the Sea of Reeds. Blocked by the water in front of them, the Egyptian army gaining on them from behind, their escape required a miracle. And so the Torah relates, God told Moses to stretch out his staff toward the sea. When Moses complied, a wind from God split the sea, forming walls of water on either side and allowing the Israelites to cross in safety before closing back on the doomed Egyptians. It is the paradigmatic miracle, vivid even in its description, let alone in its cinematic depictions. But we know another version of these events. In a midrash which may well be familiar, the ancient rabbis relate that the Israelites on the seashore stood around waiting for the miracle to happen. But the waters did not separate immediately, and the Egyptians continued to draw closer. The situation grew more and more ominous. Finally, an Israelite named Nachshon, unwilling simply to accept passively whatever might happen next, decided to act. Taking steps for his own freedom, he jumped into the sea, walking through the water, continuing to go deeper and deeper as the water came up higher and higher on his body until the water reached his head, and then, only then, the sea parted, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry land. The miracle waited until Nachshon made it happen. Not God, but human action brought about the miracle. Now, I have told the Nachshon story many times before, to many of you many times before, and I have understood it as teaching the importance of not relying on God to perform miracles, and instead creating the miracles ourselves. But this week I started to see a different layer to this story, triggered by an article by Rabbi Danny Zemel, in which he asked the question, why did the rabbis feel the need to create this midrash? On the surface, the midrash comes to answer two questions in the text itself. First, the Torah describes the Israelites, quote, walking into the sea on dry ground. But how is that possible? How can they walk into the sea and be on dry ground? Well, so the midrash explains that only once Nachshon walked into the sea did the dry ground appear. The sea comes before the dry ground. Second, later in the Torah, when the Israelites will celebrate the construction of the Mishkan, the person given the honor of bringing the very first offerings to be sacrificed in that sacred spot was Nachshon, about whom the Torah has actually said very little. So the Midrash fleshes out what Nachshon did in the rabbinic imagination to merit receiving that great honor. Both of these explanations follow good, standard rabbinic midrashic techniques, resolving questions that the Torah text itself leaves unanswered. I have known these answers for a long time, and so has Rabbi Zemel, but his question goes deeper than that. He is not satisfied by the text-based answers. Instead, he's asking an emotional question. What was it in the rabbis' lives that made them look for a different version of the story than the one the Torah tells? So he answers, quote, I have come to think that the crafters of the Nachshon legend were dissatisfied with the Torah's story as they read it because it was not true to their own experience. No waters had ever magically parted for them. No sea had ever opened up. A safe way forward had never mysteriously appeared when they themselves experienced threat, danger, disease, or any kind of trouble, unquote. And these rabbis knew from trouble living under Roman occupation, Roman oppression. Because the rabbis had never seen God intervening supernaturally in the world to save them, they needed to recast the miracle in human terms, catalyzed by human action. They knew from their own lives that miracles did not just happen, that people could not just wait for God to perform miracles, because God doesn't do that. So they told this story that emphasizes that we need to act on our own behalf instead, because they knew that that's what they did, what they had to do in order to make their own miracles. But notice this, even though Nachshon's faithful plunge made the waters part, the rabbis do not eliminate the miraculous element of the story. It is still a miracle that the waters part. But they take the miracle out of God's hands and put it in human hands. It is still a miracle, but it is a person who does the miracle. Rabbi Zemel suggests that the rabbis wanted to teach what they had seen, that miracles can happen, but only if, only when we create them. The New Reform Movement Haggadah, which we used in our TCS Seder last Saturday night, contains a poem by Diane New that amplifies this idea. Riffing on an image from the liturgy about us praising the works of God's hands, she writes, Blessed are the works of your hands, O Holy One. Blessed be these hands that have touched life. Blessed be these hands that have nurtured creativity. Blessed be these hands that have held pain. Blessed be these hands that have embraced with passion. Blessed be these hands that have tended gardens. Blessed be these hands that have closed in anger. Blessed be these hands that have planted new seeds. Blessed be these hands that have harvested ripe fields. Blessed be these hands that have cleaned, washed, mopped, scrubbed. Blessed be these hands that have become knotty with age. Blessed be these hands that are wrinkled and scarred from doing justice. Blessed be these hands that have reached out and been received. Blessed be these hands that hold the promise of the future. Blessed be the works of your hands, O Holy One. In her telling, and in Rabbi Zemel's teaching, our hands are God's hands, acting in ways both mundane and profound, to make the miracles that sustain this world. And so it must continue to be for us, because our world remains in desperate need of miracles. The ongoing tragedy and brutality of Russia's war in Ukraine cries out for a miracle. We have worked to make one for the Ukrainian people, contributing generously to the CJP Relief Fund and others, but that struggle continues and more miracles are needed. Here in the United States, the rising tide of oppression and intolerance of the LGBTQ community, along with the waters of structural racism that have never abated, which are manifesting themselves again in increasing threats to democracy and human dignity, cries out for a miracle, which we must work to make. And especially today, on this Earth Day, the literal rising tide of climate change, which recent reports from the United Nations have called ever more imminent and ominous, cries out for a miracle. We must recognize that we must work to make a miracle to save our planet, doing everything that we can to shift our worldwide and our personal energy use to renewable sources and to minimize our environmental impact. In a world that so desperately needs miracles, each of us can be and each of us must be Nachshon, a miracle maker. Only then will we be able to part the waters and walk through the sea to the other side in safety. Turn to page 7 in the supplements as we celebrate getting to the other side in safety. Nothing can compare.
Nothing can compare. Nothing can compare. Nothing can compare. Nothing can compare. Standing on the other side of the sea of reeds, I'm beginning to believe we really can be free. Walking on the ocean floor, like walking on the air. Nothing can compare with this. Nothing can compare. Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Torah tehilot Hoseh b'nei Torah tehilot Hoseh b'nei. Ra'u banecha Mokeaya Lifnei Moshe nothing can compare. 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 Nothing can compare.
We now turn back in the Cedar Room to page 35B as we come to the Amidah, the central section of our service. We will begin together on page 35B and then continue individually from there through page 38 if you wish to follow the liturgy of the Siddur or with the prayers of our own hearts and our own souls. When you've had as much time as you'd like for your private prayers, you may be seated. We'll begin by rising together on page 35B.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agita hilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot, Umevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Ufoked Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechaye Metim Atarav Lehoshia Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim So make noflim v'rofei cholim umatir asurim umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach melech meimit umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'emanata lehachayot meitim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hameitim Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahallelu chasela Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. U'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Oseh shalom, shalom bimromav. U'yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol Yisrael amen.
We come now to our prayer for healing on the inside back cover of the Siddur. As we think of our loved ones and friends who are struggling with illness, whether physically or spiritually or emotionally. Tonight in our congregational family, we think particularly of Judy Alpert, Phyllis Burke, Teresa Budd, Arthur Campbell, Tony Casella, Mike Cohen, Valerie Frank, Jonathan Gardner, David Glazer, Marilyn Hoffman, Nathan Kaufer, Cheryl Leahy, Melvin Lippman, Fredley Mercado, Janice Mussman Albertini, Tracy Paveo, Albert Schechterman, Michael Schreiber, Tal Schechter, Judy Shapiro, Iris Sherman, Devorah Bat Yaakov Shirley, Yonina Bat David HaKohen Vesara. If there's someone for whom you are particularly concerned tonight, whose name you'd like to mention aloud, I invite you to do so now. We hold them all in our hearts as we join in our prayer for healing, Mishavera.
Mishavera avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishavera imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say
Let's turn now to page 148. join in prayer for our country. Our God,
God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights from your Torah, that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your Spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony, to banish hatred and bigotry, and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that are the pride and glory of our country. May this land, under your providence, be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and freedom, helping them to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And let us say, Amen.
At Passover time, it is customary to read from the great love song of the Hebrew Bible, from Song of Songs. It is springtime. Things are rejuvenating, coming back to life after a dormant winter. And so this song speaks to us of that kind of rebirth and metaphorically of the love between God and the Jewish people as well. So on page 377, say some people read it as metaphoric between God and the Jewish people, but it is beautiful love poetry in whatever symbolic frame you read it in. So page 377. Oh, for a kiss from your lips, for your love is better than wine.
You are fair, my beloved, you are fair. Your eyes are doves.
You too are fair, my darling, sweet indeed. Our couch is shaded with branches. The beams of our house are cedar. Our rafters are firs.
Like a lily among thorns is my beloved among women.
Like an apple tree in the forest is my darling among men. I delight to sit in his shade. His fruit is sweet to my palate.
Sustain me with raisins, revive me with apples, for I am faint with love.
Hark, my beloved, here he comes, leaping over mountains, bounding over hills.
Thus does my beloved speak to me. Arise, my darling, my beauty, and come away. For the winter is over, the rains have gone, blossoms have appeared, the time for pruning has come.
The turtle dove's cooing is heard in the land. The green figs on the fig tree are ripening. The vines are in blossom. They give off fragrance.
Arise, my darling, my fair one, and come away.
O my dove, in the cranny of the rock, hidden by the cliff, let me see your face. Let me hear your voice, for your voice is sweet. Your face is lovely.
My beloved is mine, and I am his. He grazes among the lilies.
My bride, my own, you have captured my heart with the glance of your eyes, with the turn of your neck.
How sweet your love, my bride, my own, far sweeter than wine.
Your lips drop sweetness, my bride. Honey and milk are under your tongue. No spice is so sweet as your fragrance.
Where has your beloved gone, fairest of women? Where has your darling wandered? Let us seek him together.
My beloved has gone down to his garden of spices, to browse in the garden and to gather lilies.
I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. He feeds among the lilies.
My beloved is fair and ruddy, a paragon among 10,000.
My dove is the only one, the perfect beauty, fair as the moon, clear as the sun.
I am my beloved's, whose longing is all for me. Come away to the fields, my beloved.
Let us sleep among the blossoms of henna. Let us go to the vineyards early.
Let us see if the vine has ripened, if blossoms are open. There I will give my love to you.
Let me be a seal upon your heart, upon your arm. For love is as strong as death, passion mighty as the grave. Its flashes burn like flames, a blazing fire.
Vast floods cannot quench love. No river can sweep it away.
If one offered all he has for love, he would be utterly scorned.
You linger in the garden. Companions listen for you. Let me hear your voice.
Hurry, my beloved, as a swift gazelle, a young stag, to the hill of spices.
These are only selected passages. If anyone is so inspired, you can find more of them in any Bible. Love is as strong as death. The love that we have for our family and friends endures even after their death. It inspires us to remember them with love. And so on our festivals, we include the discourse service, the memorial section of our service, to bring them back to us in our memories in love.
Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. It's the song of the dreamer. From a dark place it grows, like a flower in the desert, the oasis of our souls. Come back where we belong. You who hear our longing cries, our mouths, our lips are filled with song. You can see our tear-filled eyes. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Will reap in joy.
Page 190. When Yizkor is recited, we affirm our love of those so near and dear who have physically left us. Our
Love, however, does not rest on physical being. It is deeper than that.
When we love the inner being of the beloved, the quality that makes for uniqueness, the spirit that creates personality and character.
That does not ever disappear. It remains with us as long as we live.
Time eases the pain of loss, but does not erode the affection and emotions we feel for the one who no longer moves about in our midst.
We know that whatever lives someday must die. That, however, is true only of the material world. The spiritual can endure forever.
When we lose one who is dear, we mourn, but we must not mourn excessively. We must be grateful for what we have had and find comfort in our memories.
We must continue the task of living, paying tribute to our departed by contributing to the lives of others.
On page 197, the 23rd Psalm. Let's join together.
Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. God gives me repose in green meadows and guides me over calm waters. God will revive my spirit and direct me on the right path, for that is God's way. Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no harm, for you are at my side. Your staff and your rod comfort me. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever.
We take a few moments now for private remembrance as we reflect on our own individual loved one. There are meditations on pages 192 to 195 that reflect different relationships. So we take a few moments to, if we wish to use these words, find the words that resonate with us. Rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. blueness of the skies and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. The rustling of leaves and in the breathing of autumn,
We remember them.
at the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live. They are now a part of us. We remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on doing, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live. They are now a part of us as we remember them. On page 196 lies El Malei Rachamim, the Memorial Prayer.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bamramim, Amtzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Ashchina, Im Kedoshim Utehorim, Zohar Arakiya Mazhirim L'nishmot Yakireinu Shehalchu Le'olamim B'harachamim Yastirein B'seiter kenafav le'olamim B'tzror chayim en nishmatam Adonai hu nachalatam Ve'anuchu v'shalom al mishkavam V'nomar Amen.
Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure. To the souls of all our beloved who have gone to their eternal home, merciful one, we ask that our loved ones find perfect peace in your tender embrace, their memory enduring as inspiration for commitment to their ideals and integrity in our lives. May their souls thus be bound up in the bond of life. May they rest in peace. Let us say.
Amen.
On page 51, we continue with Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, v'ateit gedula liotzer b'reishit, shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו Emet Malkeinu Efes Ulato Kakatu B'Torato V'yadatayo V'hashivota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hua Elohim B'Shamayim Imah V'al Haaretz Mitachat Einot Ushemo, Ushemo Echad.
Be seated. As we prepare for Kaddish, we recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Tonight, our hearts especially go out to Howard Jacobs and to his family. Howard's brother Neil Jacobs was laid to rest this past week. Even as we thought of so many of our loved ones during our Yisper service, our congregational family also remembers with special affection our loved ones whose yahrzeit will occur this coming week. Jerome Cohen, uncle of Marcia Hirsch, Joseph Lambrecht, father of Carl Lambrecht, Judith Peel, mother of Tom Peel, June Starr Eden, mother of Terry Starr Klein, Norman Glickman, grandfather of Adam Kempner, Arlene Newman, mother of Libby Reitman, Carol Ann Gould, friend of Judy Romaine, Richard C. Silver, father of Laurel Silverman, Florence Albert, mother of Ruth Albert, my grandfather, Louis Carr. If you are remembering someone this evening, I invite you to say that person's name aloud now. B'chronam livracha. May the memories of all our dear ones be a blessing. If you're saying Kaddish in someone's memory tonight, we ask you to rise now. In loving support of the mourners, we rise as a congregation. In gratitude to God for the gift of the lives of their loved ones, those who are in mourning and those remembering someone, say Kaddish, page 52.
Yikadal v'yikadash shnei rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon, v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala v'yizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudashah barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yamru amen. Oseh shalom v'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, yamru amen.
May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all of the bereaved. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated. Marty, will you do announcements? Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Welcome to TCS, where we value innovating education, building community, honoring individuality, drawing meaning from Judaism, and upholding our social responsibility. All of our programming, including the ones I will mention today, reflect those values. Tomorrow, Torah study, now in person and remote, with Rabbi Carr at 9 a.m. for those who RSVP'd for the post-Passover pizza party that is here at TCS tomorrow night at 6, beginning with Havdalah. Upcoming events, RSVP info in your weekly emails. Yom HaShoah, Tuesday, April 26th at 7 p.m. at TCS. The Sisterhood invites you to join us for a night of survival and inspiration. Wednesday, April 27th at Temple Sinai in Sharon. Community-wide service, Yom HaShoah Vahagrura, the Day of Remembering the Holocaust and the Bravery. Mincha at 7 p.m. and program at 7:30 p.m. Sunday, May 1st, presenting the third TCS Brotherhood Chili Cook-Off. Drop in anytime between noon and 1 p.m. Are you doing spring cleaning? The Greater Area Attleboro Council for Children is asking for your donations of clothing, shoes, bedding, towels, handbags, and belts. Sorry, no hard goods like small household items, toys, books, etc. for this drive. This is being coordinated by Temple member Sandy Neufeld. If you have a few bags, you can drop them at Temple. Contact Sandy if you have a carload. Reminder, information and links to all activities are included in your weekly emails on Mondays, as well as special notices. Please remember to turn your name badges to the drawers in the foyer before you leave the temple. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
On page 54,
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terecho Yitzir Nivra Le'ed Nasa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kiklot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Oveh V'hu Yiyeh V'tifara V'hu Yiyeh V'tifara V'hu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Lehamshilo Le'achbira B'li Reishi B'li Tachlit V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra V'hu Eilim V'chai Goali V'tzur V'bli V'eit Tzara V'hu Nisi Umanos Li V'nat Kosi V'yom Ekra V'nat Kosi V'yom Ekra V'yado Afkid Ruchi V'eit Ishan Ve'a'ira Ve'im Ruchi Geviati Adonai Li Ve'lo ira Adonai Li Ve'lo ira.
in this time after Pesach, we are in what is called the Omer. Turn to page 55. The Omer refers to an offering from the new barley crop brought to the ancient temple on the 16th of Nisan, the eve of the second day of Pesach. Omer has come to be the name of the period between Pesach and Shavuot. By counting these days, as the Torah commands us to do, by counting these days, we recall our people's liberation from enslavement, commemorated by Pesach, along with God's gift of Torah, commemorated by Shavuot. As we count the Omer, our hearts turn to the revelation of Torah, so essential for our spiritual sustenance. We count the days between Pesach and Shavuot to heighten our anticipation of celebrating the revelation, the event that gave meaning to our liberation and continued meaning to our existence as Jews.
We stand?
Yeah.
Oh. Yes, so we're going to be doing a musical version of the counting of the Omer. And what we're going to be singing is the first line of Hebrew in the paragraph on page 55, except for the last word. Then we're going to jump to the blessing, which is the last two lines on page 55. And then we'll do the counting musically. And I can't tell you what number we're counting, because that would be already counting it. We're going to save that for after the blessing. But I can tell you that yesterday was 6. So if you could add 6 plus 1, you've got it. Back. הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה. הנני מוכן ומזומן לקיים מצוות עשה של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר, של ספירת העומר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על ספירת העומר, על ספירת העומר, על ספירת העומר, על ספירת העומר. היום שבעת ימים שהם שבוע אחד לעומר. יאי די 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 יאי די 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 יאי די 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 יאי די 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 יאי די 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 די. Today is 7 days, 1 week of the Omer.
On page 49, Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava uvratzon hinchilanu זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. For those of you who are on Zoom, if you want to on YouTube, if you want to come back to the Zoom room, that will be open as well again for students after the service. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Should come on.